How do I? See you met my faithful handyman. No! Not another one! I'll save you! It's what Batman would do! He's just a little brought down, you see, when you knocked. He thought you were the Candyman.
When I was young, I designed a machine to turn ghosts into paintings, and I traveled the world collecting them. That's horrible.
Okay. A quick shot. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that came out wrong. You're not helping. You're not helping your case. You're not making this any better. You realize that.
Oh, it was glamorous, I can tell you. The souls of the dearly departed who couldn't rest, and you just went around and you started turning them into paintings. You're a monster. Well, tonight, I'm going to invite the whole town over for your birthday party. Oh, Clemmer, no! So I'd better start getting ready, shouldn't I? Where's my guillotine? Because that one door says, no, you need 2 stars to enter. I figured that was the door to the final boss. And apparently no. But then again, that was a week ago. I was very young and naive then. No!
Excuse me. Coming through. Sorry. Couldn't help it. I'm completely incompetent. Damn, I look good running into those heels. Ow!
Thanks to philosophology, all is forgiven.
And welcome, gentle viewers and listeners, to today's stream. I am Coyote de la Mancha, howling at windmills and tilting at the moon. This episode's not-for-profit is Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders helps people in over 70 countries, regardless of political affiliation, to deal with atrocities, whether they are a matter of natural disaster or man-made disaster. So if you can afford it at all, please consider giving them a little bit of financial support. Even the tiniest amount helps. And if you can't, please consider giving them a little bit of a signal boost in these troubled times. Because, well, let's face it, that's what I'm doing. And so, with the serious part of the stream safely out of the way, let us continue. 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 How very odd. Okay, so first I'm going to figure out how to actually use the controller again, apparently, or the controller is going to figure out how to control her. Bizarre. It seems to be plugged in just fine. Alt-tab onto the game. Well, okay, but it's showing on the screen as a primary. Alright. And... Aha, there we go. Derp. Not to worry, I'm a responsible person. Yeah, this place is, in fact, overrun with these frickin' vines. Some of which are more overrunny than others. Alright, showing on display equals / active window. Well, to my perception, it was on the display. I cycled around and it came up and then it worked fine, so I'm not going to... I shan't quibble at the moment. So, yeah. Beholding all these black briars. Alright, this was apparently my save point. Ah, okay. So the slash in that instance is interpreted as going through the equal sign, kind of like less than slash than 3 is a broken heart. Well, let's see now. There we go. As the city filled up with garbage, as the city filled up with people, derp, the streets filled up with garbage. In a fury, the king painted over the roads with a canal, which swept away the trash, along with some of the slower children. But the water brought something else, a horde of vines which began covering the city. Curious. I had thought that I probably should have reviewed last week's broadcast before continuing. Because, wait, considering where I save, maybe I need to go through here? Alright, I'm gonna try it. Hello, many-eyed one. Oh dear, as I try to find my way through. Okay, that's where I just came from. This is such a cool mechanic. Alright, that leads up there. Okay, that opened that gate. I see, okay. And there's the Swan! There's the unfinished Swan. Okay, and now I'm back to the part where the Emerald Kudzu is climbing. I wonder what's over here. I mean, obviously, the sluice opened to let in water. Anything else? No? Okay. Just checking. Where the emerald kudzu twines under a blanket of vine, we spend our whole life with our hatchets and knives. Where the emerald kudzu twines. Kudzu is kind of the ultimate example of invasive species. Out where it grows in the United States, there's nothing that eats it. And it advances at a rate of something like a cubic foot a day, or something ridiculous like that. It's just insane. Kind of like this stuff does. Holy crap, look at that. Yeah, the more I think about the plot of this beautiful game. Hello, Goose. The more that I think it's rather like Parenthood. I think we're in a story that we may be in a story that our hero's mother started, but again, did not finish. But you start out with this, you know, relatively pristine, controlled environment. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and whatever colors or forces in my environment that are there, I'm going to be very careful about what I let in, because I don't know what's going to be best. RE fan, yeah, glad you could make it at all. Enjoy the Comic-Con, man. And then suddenly you have these little people in your life. They have needs. And so you try to see to their needs, and sometimes you're more successful than other times. But then you may have those times that you try to put their needs off, and that never works out well. No, my pottery! And so you end up, interesting, the water that I put forth works better for them than the water from the canal. And so you end up quickly and hastily, okay, you have needs, I get it, I will see to these needs, holy crap, stop, wait, come back. But then there eventually comes a time that those people who had their needs unexpectedly showed up one day and were dependent upon your benevolence and your rule, just aren't there anymore. And I wonder, because I imagine it can also kind of be that way if you're a kid who loses your parents. Because, you know, again, suddenly they're not there anymore. Okay. The vines are growing interestingly, but they're no longer going to be giving me a way to advance, I think. At least I think. And so I wonder whether we may find out that rather than simply painting pictures to be looked at, our hero's mom was painting life. She was painting stories. And as the great magician once said, there are no happy endings because nothing ever ends. Okay, that is an awesome sea serpent, and probably a warning that I should not just leap into the water. Yeah, there are ways that video games allow for an expression of art that other mediums just don't allow. I mean, it's hard if you're just going to have a conventional painting to have hidden texture, but the interactive nature of a video game allows for it. Oh, hello. Looks like the kudzu will allow me to advance. Well, the green vines. It would amuse me if they were actually based on kudzu, but I don't know that they were. This is so very cool. I mean, yes, it's very linear, but the explorative aspect of it, and frankly, just the delight in discovering these things. You know, it's no secret that I really love an open world game, but one of the things that is so attractive about an open world game is the potential for exploration. And this game seems to be all about the explore, which I think is just marvelous. Just in case I need to climb. Frankly, I have a feeling that it's going to be a good idea to have the vines holding this bridge together. It looks a little rickety. Fascinating. And it's so cool just watching the vines grow. Hello, Goose. Well, Swan. Gonna go over here for a moment onto the bridge. It goes out here and no further. But you know, I have a feeling it may be useful later. Because this acts as kind of a dock. I don't have a boat to dock there yet, but I may in the future. What about you guys? Oh, interesting. I wonder if the water in the canal is going to end up being drained away at some point to allow me to climb down there. That would be logical. so much cool to be found here. But I think I need to climb up there now. Just watching them twine. So nice. Huh? There's the swan. There is the unfinished swan. But is it really unfinished? Or is it just that Mom painted life, and life is never truly complete? And I think one of the things that will be discovered as the story progressed is that our hero never really, for all that he loved his mom's work, he never really understood what she was trying to say with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's completely fair. But this is why people study art. You know, you can enjoy a work of art just because it's beautiful. But you can also enjoy it. Oop. Balloon. Through an understanding, or better yet, a discussion of many understandings of what it means, what it says. What was the artist trying to say versus what does it say to you as a consumer of that art? Also, I think it's just fascinating that we talk about the consumption of art. So many things in our language revolve around either the sense of sight or the act of devouring. Okay. Yeah, I gotta make more vines. Well, encouraging vines to grow, which again makes me think a little bit of the city perhaps being an allegory for parenthood and therefore of childhood. Because in order to progress, one must learn how to make young green things grow. There we go. Not that every place that it's possible for the vines to grow is a place that I will need to traverse necessarily. I'm just trying to think ahead a little bit. I think odds are good. There we are. Climbing along the vines. And there's the swan. Hello, swan. This may be the closest I've got Hey! And off they go. Alright, so I'm curious about this area back here. Probably there's nothing here. But I'm curious, and I want to explore. I wonder what these are. See, this is not vine growth. This is something else. Is it something that was broken? No. No. It's a sculpture of vines. Look at that. Look how cool that is. It's a sculpture of a whale playing and surging out of the ocean. A sculpture made out of vines. So even the intrusion into life was turned into art. And again, as someone who has magnificent offspring, I'm glad you've been enjoying the commentary. I find, as an allegory, this is most apropos. Time will tell whether that is something that was intended by the artist or not. But then again, people like to say, as a this, as a that. As a person of this lifestyle or this profession, I believe this. And it's tempting to pick up that habit, but it's a weird, almost a verbal tick to have. Because it's like, okay, so you're saying you wouldn't have that viewpoint or that opinion if, you wouldn't have that opinion regarding art if you were not an artist, for example? Are you sure that perhaps your having an opinion like that did not lead you to art, in part? And sometimes it's just one, and sometimes it's just the other, but sometimes it might be both. And I think that just having that verbal tick of, as a blank, I feel blank, kind of interferes with communication a little bit. But, looking at this, I'm also a writer, and I have found in my experience writing and reading I'm going to say very rarely, just because I'm reluctant to say never. That's really the only reason. Very rarely, I would think, would there be a point where the only interpretation of a story is the one that was intended by the author. And death of the author is a worthy exercise, but it's I feel that it's incomplete. You should look at a work bearing in mind the author's likely intentions and their viewpoint and their background. But it is impossible to create a work of art, of any art, without also revealing yourself. You know, the gentleman who, and his name escapes me at the moment, who wrote The Great Gatsby, for example. There's a lot that he says about his own life in that story. And yeah, a lot of that was intentional, but some of it was not. Yes, he draws upon his experience. He draws upon any number of things in order to make that story happen. But it's not autobiographical. That being said, you can tell something about an author's point of view on things by what they choose to have the story approve of and what they choose to have the story condemn. I think I can make that jump. Woohoo! Part 4, The Palace. Also, John Greystoke, Eat Your Heart Out. I just swung on that vine. That was awesome. And there's the crown, indicating that this is a place of kingly path and kingly power. Yeah, Death of the Author is a treehouse. I wonder if this is a treehouse that we had as a kid. Death of the Author is it's a complicated affair. For me, a lot of times I have trouble completely separating out Balloon, the author, from their work. For all the fact that no author is perfect, and there's, in my opinion, Balloon. Very rarely, just because you love what an artist does, would you like them if you met them in person. Not to say that it can't happen, I think it would be rare. Having a, proto-social, demisocial, quasi-social, I'm trying to remember the proper word, and it's escaping from me, but, parasocial. Having a parasocial relationship become a personal relationship successfully is very rare. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's rare. But that being said, growing up, one of my favorite movies was Take the Money and Run. And even as a kid, I knew that I was going to want to have kids someday. Which Is It a Fool says, yeah, you're probably right about parasocial stuff, but I'm still convinced that Toby Fox, creative Undertale, and I could hang. Hey, maybe you could. The more chill each person is, the more likely it is to work out. But, you know, when I was growing up, one of my favorite movies was Take the Money and Run. Another of my favorite movies was Sleeper. And I was really wanting to someday be able to... I got turned around. I don't know if this is where I came from and just the vines are gone, or if this is a new location. I was looking forward to one day sharing these movies with my kids, and we could watch them and laugh together, and it would be awesome. But that will probably never happen, because both of those movies were made by Woody Allen. And Woody Allen, I mean, I'm not going to say that he's, you know, cruel or sadistic or whatever else, but, we're talking about the person who eventually married his adopted daughter, after his other adopted daughter for years had been giving allegations of things. And that kind of spoiled the movies for me. So, death of the author is a fine thing, but I just... You know, it's not some kind of dramatic statement. It's not some, oh no, I'm needing to abstain because I refuse to support X. Although there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if that's where your heart is, go for it. Me, it took the joy out of it. Oh. Oh, wow! It's a rocket ship. Woo! Wow! Oh, that was so cool.
Unlike his nicely trimmed hedge maze, the vines refused to stay where the king wanted them. He ordered his subjects to pull up every vine they saw. But the people were getting tired of the king's endless decrees, so they secretly began watering the vines whenever the king wasn't looking.
Mm-hmm. Anarchy, 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 yeah. You like bananas? Oh, you're a little bitch who likes bananas? Well, I'm afraid there's no bananas on the moon! And again, the game has shifted gears a little bit in a way that just kind of continues to keep everything fresh and new. Because now in the process of using the little water splats that I have access to make the vines grow, rather than using paint to permanently outline the shape of the stark whiteness of areas so they can be seen, or using the water to temporarily give them outline before the water fades, or using the water to nurture the vines so that the vines will give me a means of progression. I'm watering the vines so that they can show permanently the outline of my surroundings. And again, look at this use of negative space. This is brilliant. Just look at this. You know exactly what this is, but it's not drawn. The absence of it is drawn. I am not a massive fan of the art of Frank Miller, although I am very reluctant to really go on tirades against him for a variety of reasons. But I will say his use of negative space in his art, especially some of the stuff that he did in Sin City, is sometimes it's just breathtaking. Okay, so apparently I'm not in an enclosed area. I'm in a walled outdoor structure. Just look at how beautiful this is. Oh, there is a ceiling. I just needed to be patient. Okay. Look at how gorgeous this is. Yeah, and if anyone who is watching this, if you have not seen the first episode of the streams that I have been doing on this game, do yourself a favor. Go back and experience this game. I mean, look at this. So gorgeous. And again, remember that in the story, the king started out unsure of what colors to use in his pristine kingdom because he wanted to use only the colors that were perfect. He ended up using kind of under protest. And so the implication is here that, not just by the narration, but by the visuals as well, that, yeah, we're in his private area now. This is not a place where the citizenry were necessarily invited. Yeah, this is like mom and dad's room. And a shift in music. And just this scene, just drink in this scene for a moment, those of you who are watching. With these vines that have been kind of creeping forward along these unseen walls. They reach so far, and as yet they reach no further. But they will. Of course, when we reach the king, he may not be happy to see us. After all, we have brought with us color in the creeping vines. We have invaded into the sanctity of his domain. If he is angry when we find him, can we really blame him? That being said, all we want is to catch up to our mother's Swan. Can't really blame a kid either. But see, he does have some color. There's some stained glass windows. Yeah, it's not that he's against all color. He just wanted all the colors to be perfect. He wanted to have his perfect environment and his perfect life. But then all of these people started moving in and saying, hey, we got needs. And whether he liked it or not, he realized, oh, I think I've got some responsibility all of a sudden. My controller seems to be dying. I love the sound of those seagulls. That is such a nice touch. Oh, wow. But yeah, the king was never against color. He just wanted to make sure that he used only the perfect color for every given occasion. Lovely abstract stained. And now, all right, I'm just going to kind of pan a little bit like a strafe, just so that viewers can appreciate what went into this. Just look at this. Look at what has been uncovered. Then on defeating the Kudzu. Yay! The amount of foreplanning and consideration, the amount of, I mean, just the sheer artistic balance. Oh. Ah, ha, ha. Okay, once again, we see that the king really loves himself. He has a picture of himself next to a picture of himself, next to a picture of himself, next to a picture of himself. Obviously, this is a location that he really liked to pose at, and he stands there facing this table, which is set for many diners, so it seems pretty obvious he had not intended for his kingdom to always be empty. Again, he had just figured that he would be in control of the matter when he started having visitors, and life had other ideas. And, you know, going back to the parenthood analogy, one sympathizes. But no regrets. I hope it turns out that the king can say the same. Oh, how cool! Ha! Hey, I can go up the chimney. Eh. I am so cute as this character. Oh, and there's the swan! There's the swan! Hello, swan! How do I get to you, though? So out from the king's realm, back into town it looks like. Oh, and there goes. Aww. Am I the only person playing this who's thinking a little bit of Strong Bad and the King of Town? Welp? Was I supposed to go this way, or was I supposed to... I mean, okay, I think I'm supposed to go this way, because I'm chasing after the goose. I wonder if we'll see that multi-eyed... Ooh! Seagulls! I wonder if we'll see that multi-eyed creature that was in the darker area again. Part 5. The Seawall. Balloon! Alright. New narration.
The king hated the sea, and all because of his very first castle. It was the only one he had ever come close to finishing, and it took him a single day. But then the tide came in and washed it all away. He vowed that someday he'd build a kingdom that would last forever.
Okay. Wow. Interesting, some of the parallels that we are drawing between the king and our hero's mom. That's a big old shark down there. And so now I'm wondering how much of this is the story that he is writing while he is processing everything that's happened. And how much of it might have started as a story that she wrote for him, realizing that maybe it would help him deal with what was to come. Sometimes when you talk to a child, you talk to the person they are. Sometimes you're talking to the person that they will yet become. Okay, there's an island far off there. An island of silhouette. And I can't tell if that's part of a building or a humanoid figure. But my guess is that that's a place that we will ultimately be going. Eventually, someday. Okay, that door is not opening currently. Swan tracks! Okay, so... Alright, so my guess is this was not the only way to get here. There were other ways. I just happened to take the chimney. Because here's an alternative set of tracks, and way down there I can see some balloon that I missed. Hello, balloon that I missed. Yeah, the king hated the sea because the sea had washed away his first great castle. So it's a childlike emperor. The Lord of Crumpets resented having his great palace washed away. And he learned a valuable lesson about impermanence that day. He learned that he did not like it. How to progress from here? Yeah, there were these fantastical sea serpent creatures in the water. Now there are more mundane sharks. Are we beginning to leave fantasy behind us? See, following those tracks. Oh no, they're going in the other direction, aren't they? That's very different. Oh. Oh. Well, that's quite a fall. That one's better, I guess. Sharks. Oof. Yeah, it's interesting. Instead of pots, we're finding more buckets. Potentially reminiscent of that fateful day at the beach. That. Well, Surely I'm not supposed to go down into shark-infested water, am I? That would be a sad end for a fine broth of a boy like me. Wait, there are vines there. By the way, if you like what I've been doing, please consider giving the video a like. If for some unimaginable reason you don't like what I've been doing, go ahead and give a thumbs down. But if you do, please go ahead and leave a comment letting me know how I could get better. Okay, I think that I can get these to that bridge that's up there. Oh. Oh. Oh no. I'm not going on top of the bridge. I'm going to monkey bar my way along the bottom. Oh. Welp. Yeah, I am loving this game. Oof. Huh. Interesting. The little water bubbles just bounce off of the surface of that. Okay. Do I need to go down onto this? Or do I climb around? I think I climb around. Yes. Yes, the beautiful emerald vines have spoken. Yeah, there's a lot of frustration in the king's story. I wonder if there is loneliness as well. Oh, now this is interesting. As time goes on, we're getting more and more three-dimensional in our travels. Or it looks like I'll be climbing over here. But there's also the potential to climb along that way underneath that little outcropping. Ah. Oh. Oh, do I climb under that one too? Oh dear. Oh, it looks like I kinda do, doesn't it? Yeah. This is rather like the King's Labyrinth. It wasn't intended to be practical. And it wasn't. Okay, can I go under that awning? Yes, I can. What is over here? Besides the chance to fall into the water with the sharks. Best to avoid that, I think. Oh, nope. Can get this far and no further. Oh well. Carefully, carefully. Hand over hand. Don't look down. Oh no, don't look down. Whoa. Oh. Alright. Monkey bars, hand over hand, under the bridge it is. Hand over hand. Very carefully. Easy does it. Well, there comes a point I may not be able to go further on the bridge. But I guess I drop down to that bridge over there. And then I climb up that pole over yonder. Yipe, yipe, yipe. Yeah, if you hear a child yiping, it's me. Okay, that's as far as she goes, and she goes no further. Well, okay, I guess we backtrack just a little bit. Well, goodbye. Oof. I'm going to try this door way down here, just on the off chance that it can open and lead to someplace cool. Hello, door that looks unopenable. You are, in fact, unopenable. Shocker. Alright, moving over here. Another function of the vines, of course, is that the player can tell at a glance where they've been. They can just see a lot of their path at a enjoy the, oh yeah, I did all that. That's where I've been. But this gets me closer to one of those wonderful balloons up there. And another page. Is anybody not ready for this?
The vines were slowly burying the king and his city. No matter what he tried, the king couldn't stop them. So he decided to create something that could. He mixed in paint thinner, malice, and snot, and soon had the outlines of a pretty horrible creature. But it wasn't until the thing began to coil its tentacles and snap its jaws that the king understood what he had made. And for the first time in his life, the king was afraid.
Oh. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you don't need to fear your anger, but you do need to be aware of it. Keep from creating something that you can't control, create a situation that you can't recover from. Okay, well, curious. I was expecting to be able to climb this. That's acting as though I cannot. Oh dear. Well, I am only a small boy. I'm just a poor boy from a poor family. So I can't jump back up there, obviously. Hey, Kitch, it goes well. I seem to have put myself into an impasse. I know this is an amazing game, but I don't know how to progress from here. Oh, it is very well. I leapt from this ledge after reading about the king creating a monster that he could not control. Now I am, well, here. I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to proceed. Maybe one of those friendly sharks will give me a ride. Well, they don't seem to be answering. Played this game 12 years ago and now you're trying to remember. Oh. Well, I appreciate the thought. Yeah. Shimmy my way around. Ah! Okay. Oh, this is not cool. Okay. Apparently I was supposed to leap diagonally out. And then I could climb. I don't understand this. Yeah, but I was trying to climb it before. And I still had rungs, and it wasn't letting me. You may have seen me jumping up and down. So I wasn't expecting, if you look, I'm like hovering out here on my own. I wasn't expecting this! Oh, well, I am awesome, but I have run out of ladder. And there are no kudzu here for me to summon to my aid. Okay, I couldn't climb the sides of the ladder before, but now I can climb the okay. This is fine. This is fine. We're all fine here. Ah! No! Ah! No. Climb up. Ah! Come on, it's... No, I'm... Ah! Okay, I'm pushing the stick up, and I'll go up to the top, and then I won't, and I'll just kind of be here, hoping I don't fall for reasons that I will never understand. Do I need to jump now? Is that somehow a solution? I don't know. The placing at this particular point and the controls at this particular point are bizarre. See, that's what happened if I push up. Here's me pushing to the right. Here's me pushing to the left. Ah! Ah! And that was up. If I jump, will I jump up and grasp the pipe? Or will I jump off and fall to a watery grave? I don't know. Yeah, that whole time pushing up. Push. Live, left, jump. Okay, I'll... Ah! Let me go back up. Okay. And then I jump. Ah! Okay. Now I'm going sideways. And now up. I'm just hanging on to the sides. And up. Ah, okay. Ah. Ah. Big Y also said, wah. Yeah. Ah! Swan tracks. Yes, I'll pick up the fire hose. Okay. That should have... Oh yeah, that has some tremendous range. Okay, let's see here. Wow. Yeah, gave the feeling of how it is to really climb a ladder. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. Balloon. Okay. This, okay. This fire hose has amazing range and resources. I wonder if I get to keep it. I wonder if I'm gonna need to climb that wall later. Yeah. And again, right about the time that I'm getting used to things working in a certain way, we change things up a little bit. The game is just impeccable. What's been my favorite part of the game so far? I don't know. I'm gonna say probably the way that the gameplay interacts with the philosophy of the story. Although spraying things is also fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying kind of speculating how much of this might have been a leftover unfinished story that his mom wrote for him, and how much of it is the story that he is writing. How much of it is about parenthood, and how much of it is about childhood. As it's rather difficult to write about one without writing about the other. Okay. Oh, that was fun. Let's see what I can make grow next. Maybe I can encourage those vines to come across that bridge and give me a relatively safe way across. All things being relative, of course. Oh, looks like I can. How lovely. Can't quite reach that balloon, but that's all right. Whee! Yeah, let me go ahead and make sure there's plenty of vine down there too. Not sure how good a jumper I'm going to be going for distance. Okay. And just because I don't necessarily trust rickety old bridges when they do not have some nice friendly vines helping to keep them together, we're going to do that. Now then. Beep. Okay. Okay. Well, that was fun. It might have been nice to be able to keep the fire hose, but I really wasn't expecting to. Splitch. Yeah, I have come to regard the vines as one of the best allies I have. Especially since apparently there's a monster ahead. And I'll bet that monster was the thing with the many eyes that I saw in the darkness. Maybe the vines will help me to fight the monster, since the monster is the enemy of the vines. That would make sense. Yes, yeah, absolutely. You may recommend game. Game recommendations are always welcome. I give no indication that I will play games that are recommended, but I'm always happy to hear recommendations. Ah! Let's just double check something here. Yeah, okay. The portcullis comes down, and lo, I am trapped. Trapped like a North American beaver. Okay, no monster up here yet.
The creature had no trouble swallowing up all the king's soldiers, half his zoo, and 3 peppermint gazebos.
Ah,
It was only with the help of his pet hippo and the giant that the king was able to force it into the sea. And though the water remained black for years after, the creature was never seen again on shore.
oh, well, that's fortunate at least. Still, what kind of horrible fiend eats somebody's peppermint gazebos. That's just wrong. Yeah, Kitch, I appreciate your being chill about it, but yeah, suggestions are always welcome. Okay. Whoa! I'm not sure that was the desired effect. Yes, I have a feeling the king is going to be just a little bit cross when we finally meet. Oh my. So, all right, up there is the way to continue. No problem. Hopefully, the vines continue being my friends. Ah! Do you continue growing out here at all? Looks like you might a little bit. Not to a huge degree, though. Oh, wait. Not downward, but upward. It's fine, I'm not too terribly fond of crosswords anyway. But I heard the swan. I heard the swan. Somewhere. If I had a horse, just hypothetical, what would it look like? And what would I name it? I don't know. If I had a horse, what would it look like? Well, I would name it, at least in part, in accordance, or at least I would try to name it in part, in accordance with its personality. Although, if it had a particularly striking aspect of its appearance, I might name it after that. Look at all these places I've been. But then there's the place that it looks like I need to go. Ah, this is the place where the vines will grow downward. Hypothetical questions are cool. I enjoy them. Okay, this is what happens when I push the stick up. Yipity yipe. Okay, so down. Ah. I was so close. I was so close to those balloons. Oh yeah. The balloons that have floating cannons. That's highly auspicious, I'm sure. Okay. Am I supposed to jump? That seems like kind of a fall even for this character. Well, maybe if I create enough leafy underbrush to land on. Whoa, okay. Okay, now we find out that I can also use the water bubbles to remove obstacles. So, alright, now, wait just a minute. In here, up along here, are you sure? Yeah, I've been here. Okay, did I do all that just so I could retrace my steps? Maybe? I can't tell what direction those footprints go. But I think if I had been along this particular road before... No, they're showing that I should go the way that I came. Okay. So that was not the pathway that I wanted to go. Alright. That's fine. Fortunately, okay, so sometimes they will recede over time. That's going to be important to bear in mind for the future. But it only makes sense that they would. Otherwise the entire kingdom would still be overgrown with them. Come on, you can do it. Get up there. There we are. Okay. Alright, so... Okay, I don't know why I didn't see that before. But here we are, new page.
Within a short time, the king's subjects had all moved away, except the giant, who was quite loyal and also very lazy.
Oh, that is much sadder than I was hoping for. Has the king become like Prince Pompadoodle that Walt Kelly wrote about in his famous poem? That would be very sad. And I don't remember the entire poem. I just remember that Prince Pompadoodle was obsessed with longevity. Oh, the swan! And the poem showed how rumor reached Prince Pompadoodle that one of his subjects might try to steal away his life. And so he sent everybody away and locked himself in the tower, just sitting there with this blunderbuss, alone forever. And all I remember is the ending of this, of the poem. It may be that Prince Pompadoodle still dwells, hoarding every hour, but none shall know, for no word comes from silent Stoneleigh Tower. Aww! And away it goes. I was hoping to be able to ring this bell. Apparently not. Oh well. So I'm curious whether I'm supposed to jump and platform my way across, or if there is a way that the vines will provide a way to climb. Oh, it looks like the vines may provide a way. That would be awesome. Yes, in fact, look at them go. Okay, well, maybe. Oh dear. Looks like I have gone as far as the branches will take me. Welp, as Dante Alighieri once said. Ah. Bomb. Then from here, onto the airship.
Monroe waved goodbye to the giant and set sail. But no matter how fast he went, the Swan was always just out of reach. And not for the first time that day, Monroe suspected he was being led somewhere. Then they flew into a cloud, and everything went black.
Chapter 3. Nighttime. The woods. And this?
Monroe sailed on in darkness following the Swan's voice, but he never saw a thing. Not the stars, not the Swan, and certainly not the tree he got stuck in.
Oh no.
When the clouds lifted, the Swan was gone, leaving Monroe alone in the middle of an immense forest. Since there was nothing else to be done, he jumped.
Ah! And this, dear reader, I think, gentle viewers and listeners, is a fine place for us to end for today. But before we go, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our patrons, present and future, with special thanks to Cryptid Rhea and Guinevere, and most of all, extra special thanks to my personal savior, Laughing Gremlin. This channel could not be what it is without your support. Thank you. It'll show up eventually. Yes, there we go. And if you would like to support what we do, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Coyote de la Mancha. And when you do, please let me know via email or patron message if there is a particular color in which you would like to have your name displayed. Speaking of display, mine is being blasphemous. Ha. Well, it's frozen on Laughing Gremlin. That's where there are worse places for it to be. Alternatively, you can give a one-time gift at ko-fi.com/Coyote de la Mancha. And finally, a huge thank you to all of you who have been circulating the links. The signal boost really helps. So, Until next time, always live your life in such a way to make the best story possible, and beware of acting out of anger, especially if acting out of anger involves using paint thinner and snot. Trust me, the combination never leads anywhere good. And I will see you, gentle viewers and listeners, sometime again.